Hello, I have not uploaded in a while, and I don't really have an excuse for it. All I can say is that I think I got a little bit bored of making, videos on one game, which I'll still do for certain games, but this video is for a whole array of games, more specifically, the zombies community as a whole, and why it died. Or not so much that it's dead, it's just a lot less and not as prominent as it used to be. But one thing I do want to mention before I start yapping is I do have a goal now. I love watching civilization videos on YouTube, so now my goal is to accumulate just enough of a following to be able to, make my own, but that's a way off. But if you did want to be part of it, I would appreciate it. But yeah, now I'll stop talking. I hope you enjoy. I believe there's two main reasons that Zombies is starting to and already has kind of fallen apart, and that is the game quality getting worse, which is the obvious one, and the community dying. So I mean, like, YouTubers that we used to watch growing up either switching content or continuing with Zombies, but you can just tell that there's not as many people wanting to watch it, and I'll dive into why I think that is. So we'll start with the community side of things. So to start, I'll cover individual creators and kind of what they're doing now and how that has an effect on the zombie community. So if you've watched Zombies on YouTube for more than 2 seconds, you've probably heard of NoJ, and he essentially just streams modded maps and then also uploads them as videos. Good stuff. But what I did notice is he gets a significantly less amount of views than what he used to. Like, he still gets hundreds of thousands of views, but it's a lot less than it used to be, especially around the time of BO3 and a little bit after that as well. Same thing with Tim Hansen, and Tim Hansen's my favorite Zombies YouTuber, just to put it out there. He still has consistent uploads with Zombies, but once again, his views, they're just a lot lower, and it's not because of a lack of quality of content. It's just the community for Zombies is slowly dwindling away. And lastly, for another creator that still makes Zombies content but just, gets less recognized now, is T-Lexify. There was a bit of drama recently about him and his abusive girlfriend, but yeah, no, it seems to have not affected his uploads. He still uploads a lot, but same thing, less views, and it's just sad to see. But I can't close this section without talking about Mr. Ruffle Waffles. I mean, he is probably the most iconic out of all of them. If you've ever been trying to do a Black Ops 3 or a Black Ops 2 or Black Ops, any Zombies Easter egg, Mr. Ruffle Waffles, he's the person that you'd always go to and watch. But now he makes a lot of Destiny content. I mean, he still does Zombies, he keeps up to date with it. He'll do videos on if there's a new one releasing or anything like that. But yeah, those are probably like my top 4 that I mentioned. There's obviously a lot of zombie YouTubers, but that's just kind of like the state of it at the moment. They either keep making Zombies content and get less views, or they've switched their content. So why is that? Well, the obvious one ties into the second segment, which is, the game quality getting worse, which just means people are less inclined to watch, a video on a game that they don't like. But beyond that, there's just simply less content to cover, really. I mean, if we go back to, I don't know, for example, Call of Duty Vanguard, no one wanted to watch videos on that, and the videos made on it were to a minimum, I feel. And rightfully so, because that game was ass. And to follow up Vanguard Zombies, we had Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, which was, I mean, yes, it was a Zombies game by definition, but it wasn't a true COD Zombies experience, not even close. Then more recently, we had the, what I would describe as the stale Black Ops 6 Zombies. A lot of people love it, but I mean, it's still not as good as the games used to be. And that's not me just, glazing the golden days of COD Zombies. I mean, it's just factual. I wouldn't go back and play Black Ops 6 Zombies. I tried it, and that was it. It was mid. It wasn't fun. It wasn't something I'll ever go back to. But I find myself going back to Black Ops 3 all the time, because I mean, Black Ops 3 is my favorite overall, and Black Ops 2 as well, and Black Ops 1. Those 3 are the ones that I would consider to be best constructed. But I also like, Cold War. That's not too old. I mean, it's getting on now. But after that, I don't know. I feel like the quality of games started to go down, but I'll touch on that more later. But to summarize it, both of the segments kind of go hand in hand, and because the quality of game is just worse, in my opinion, and I think a lot of other people's opinions, there's just a loss in passion for the game. So not not as many people want to watch videos on it, not as many people want to play it, which just leaves us with a hollow shell of what the game used to be. Also, I do want to add, I don't think, the people developing the new COD Zombies are completely uncreative and just useless, because I do think there's a lot of good things about it. I love how they try and introduce new stories and tie it in with the old ones, but I don't know, the gameplay itself it can never match what it used to be. Plus, you have to remember they're under strict timelines, and also they have to follow guidelines on what to do for the game. The people actually developing the game, like the individuals who do it, they're not the people who choose what to do. So I do have a lot of respect for them in that sense that, they do the best with what they're given, and yeah, that's about it. So, on to section 2, the quality of games getting worse. So first, let me describe what I mean by getting worse, because they don't look worse, and they don't feel worse necessarily, because the games, they feel clean, because they're running on a newer engine, and they look aesthetically better. I'm more referring to the core gameplay of Zombies. It just feels gone. And to be honest, I think Black Ops 6 is more like a Zombies game compared to what we have gotten, like Vanguard and Modern Warfare 3. So it's not all bad, but it's not without its setbacks either, because in Black Ops 6, microtransactions have somehow found their way to become pay to win for Zombies. And that sounds stupid because it's a co-op game, but I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100% sure, but there is also a versus mode where it can become a problem. But even if it isn't, I just feel like having to pay for an advantage in a game, or having the ability to, just makes it unfun, and it makes you not want to play it, because you know that there is someone out there who is just spending copious amounts of moolah on the game just to make it easier. So knowing that someone else has it easier compared to you just because they spent money, it's not fun. But what's that I hear? Black Ops 3 did it first? Kind of. I mean, you could buy liquid civilians to use in Dr. Monty's factory, or whatever it's called, to get gobblegums, but that was down to chance, so it wasn't really pay to win. It could be, if you got lucky, but I think overall that shit was just a scam. I'm not saying it was a good feature, I think it was terrible. It's probably, other than the campaign, the worst part of Black Ops 3, but it's Activision, so, I mean, it's kind of just ingrained in them to have microtransactions. Another thing that I find quite impactful on Zombies is the fact that for some people, and I know myself as well, especially when it was around Cold War time, I would only really play Zombies because I knew I'd get a lot of XP for playing it. I mean, I also just like Zombies. I might be completely wrong, but I feel like that's one of the main reasons people move over to play Zombies sometimes, which of course isn't fully a bad thing, as, it can grow the community a bit more, people might get into it, but overall I feel like it's more used as a tool in order to just get XP. I see so many exploits on the new COD, it's insane. Another thing about the game quality getting worse is the Easter eggs. I feel like not only are they not as interesting, I'm just basing it off the ones that I've played off, but it also just spoon feeds you on how to do it, and you could argue that all I would do in Black Ops 3 if I didn't know how to do an Easter egg was look at a Mr. Ruffle Waffles guide, and I wouldn't figure it out by myself, but it was the exploration of trying to figure it out yourself a little bit because you think you know what to do, and then having to research it, getting your friend to train the last zombie. But it's not like that anymore. I might be wrong in this, but I'm pretty sure there is an option to turn it off, or a different game mode to press if you don't want it to tell you, but still having the option there, I don't know. It kind of kills it a little bit, and it come full circle again, it impacts the community, because obviously less people will watch Mr. Ruffle Waffle's guides or Mr. Dalek JD's guides on how to do it if it's already being told to them. Why would they? Once again, you can argue it's not a bad thing that they're trying to help people on how to do an Easter egg, because they can be completely random and complicated, and it does help a lot of new people get into the game a little bit more, and shows newer players that there's more beyond just, surviving rounds, which, I mean, to me, that's the core for Zombies. But spoon feeding people who are new on how to do an Easter egg, it can be enticing, but I don't know. I feel like it does take a bit of the magic out of what the game used to be, where you just had to do it yourself. You had to search up for guides, die to a crawler when you think you're safe, or figure out what step you've missed and why you can't fill up a soul box, or, I don't know, the Dyson Drac bows. I just want to touch on the microtransactions again. I think, if I'm not mistaken, in Vanguard you could have custom weapons in the game. I might be wrong, it's been so long since I played that and I hardly did, but I think having gobblegums that you can just straight up buy is such an insult to the whole Zombies community, if I'm being honest. As fun as gobblegums are. I think they were introduced in a bad way to start with, because you had to essentially gamble to get it, and you can just earn them for free in Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4. But in Black Ops 6, it's the same. You can get them for free, but you can get more, and you can get guaranteed ones if you just, you know, spend money on the game. And I feel like that's such a slap in the face, because from my point of view, it just seems like they're trying to drain every last ounce of money they can out of the, you know, Zombies game mode and people who play it, instead of investing money into it to make it more interesting again and back to how it used to be a little bit. And once again, I don't feel like Black Ops 6 is completely, you know, terrible, but it is in the sense where microtransactions are more present than they've ever been, and I don't know, it just sucks, really. It just sucks. Also, just a few nitpicky things that don't actually impact the game, and I think they're kind of cool, but also it just takes away from how it used to feel, is, for example, having skins on wonder weapons. Like, they're meant to be this, you know, weapon you can only get in the game, but now you can just, you know, go to your gunsmith and you can customize it however you want it, which, once again, it's not a bad thing, it's not, but it just has more openings for microtransactions, again. But also, I don't know, I feel like having the wonder weapons in their original state and their original state only is kind of what made it so iconic. Like, in the older CODs, if you got the Wonder Waff, it just looks like the Wonder Waff, or any other wonder weapon for that matter. It's kind of like, and I can't believe I'm about to make this comparison, but hear me out, it's kind of like Fortnite, where you have OG Fortnite around season 1 to season X, and that was like the first chapter. Anything beyond that kind of is considered too much change. Like, so many things change, people don't want to play anymore, and it's not necessarily changing for the worse, because now people look back and they're like, oh, I kind of like chapter 2 actually, you know. But at the time, and even to this day, people are just adamant on, no, they shouldn't have changed this, they should have kept this, you know, yada yada yada. And it is just all down to personal preference. But yeah, I just thought that was kind of an appropriate comparison, as, like, for example, you look now, Fortnite is still a massive game, loads of people play it, but so many people complain about it. It's the same thing with COD Zombies. So many people still play the new Zombies, but there's a lot of people that complain about it, me being one of them. One final point I do want to make, and it's very quick, is that because there's less people with passion for zombies, I feel like it means that they put less effort, by they I mean Activision, puts less effort into creating the game. They won't invest as much money into it because there's not enough money coming back out of it, so why would they? And from their point of view, it's kind of like a smart move, but also it's just kind of upsetting to see. And it's not exactly low budget, because, you know, as I said before, the games feel newer and they are more aesthetically pleasing in some areas. But overall, if the game isn't giving back as much, they're not going to put in as much, and that is just the reality of it. And that about wraps it up. And I just want to make a point on, everyone has their own opinions on whether the state of COD Zombies is good or bad. Me personally, I think it's a lot worse than it was, but it's not completely bad. As I said, Black Ops 6 is a step in the right direction, but also a step back because of microtransactions. But overall, I kind of hope it returns to its roots, you know, having main protagonists for certain maps and just things like that I haven't even touched on because I would just be talking forever. But yeah, other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video, and goodbye.